My memories of the Crowley Nazarene Church. My maternal grandfather and family lived on a farm between Ellis and Iota. He died in 1930. My mother told me that she went with him to the Nazarene Church in Ellis by means of a horse-drawn carriage, and also made the long trip from the farm to the camp at Ebenezer. I wondered why they skipped past Crowley. The reason was that the Crowley Church was not started until the end of 1938. After Alice and I were married in 1958 and began attending the church in Crowley, the church was 20 years old. In learning some facts about the history of the Nazarene denomination, I learned that it all started in Pilot Point, Texas. Started locally in Ellis in 1913, Ebenezer 1920, and then in Crowley in 1938. The Nazarenes have arrived, Louisiana. The source of much of the information I'm using in this review of the history of the Crowley Church comes from a booklet prepared by Richard Hall. The booklet cover has a wonderful drawing of the church on 5th Street and Avenue G. Richard is the step-grandson of the first Nazarene pastor in Crowley. This was prepared for the 65th anniversary. It includes information about locations and dates of various buildings and pastors and dates served. Hand-drawn cover. Organization information. Dedication activities. A page from the organizational meeting. A list of all the present and past pastors. This source of information indicates that the church was located in 3 different: South Crowley at Elm Street and Avenue H, North Crowley at 5th Street and Avenue G, and North Crowley at William Egan and Northern Avenue. The first location, pastors serving in South Crowley were Bishop, Lemons, Hoffpower, Hudnell, and Osteen. In 1939, the newly formed church purchased a large house on the corner of Elm Street and Avenue H in South Crowley. Rooms were added for the pastor and family, and the original part was converted into an auditorium. Now a few pictures concerning South Crowley Church 75 years to 70 years ago. Reverend and Mrs. Mark Bishop, Mrs. Hazel Robbins with Sunday school class. To the left is Mrs. Coy Hayes with daughter Leora. The church building and a circa 1938 car. Reverend Lemons, the pastor, and his wife with the Sunday school class, attendance of 94 back in 1941. If you look closely, you'll probably be able to pick out Lucille Petrie DeSalle, 5th from the left on the first row. The 1940 flood was a major setback. The second location. In 1945, under the leadership of Reverend Osteen, the church purchased property located at the corner of 5th Street and Avenue G. This property was the former home of the Baptist Church in Crowley. Major improvements were made over the years, including pastors' living quarters. The property served the church for 20 years. Now some pictures and videos of the Northern Avenue location 69 years ago to 49 years ago. This is Reverend Ashby, father of David Ashby. This is Mrs. Dorothy Petrie Huffpower with some promising students. This is a Sunday school class back in 1961. This is Mrs. Vicky Petrie's class back in 1958. Now the year of 1965 brought about many changes to the church. The property was sold for $25,000. The third location. The property at our present location was purchased in 1965 under the pastorate of Reverend R.A. Isbell. A $32,000 contract was awarded to Linscomb Construction, the new church. Presiding over the dedication was District Superintendent T.T. McCord and Reverend R.A. Isbell. General Superintendent Young preached the dedication message. Pastors that have served in the present church: Isbell, Taylor, Rowland, Howard, Lewis, and Lowe. Lambright, Huffpower, Mercer, Ellingson, Beatty, and Huffpower, Mappus, Gawthorpe, Patrick, Bradley, and Johnson. Now a few pictures and videos concerning our present location 48 years ago. Here's a nice crowd of 60 plus in the mid-1980s, Reverend Lambright, pastor. Do you still recognize some of the group about 30 years ago? You might even